This has been a Now Media television feature presentation. All rights reserved. Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching Now Media Television.
Thank you for watching us this day. Hi, this is Officer Jesus Robles out of the Office of Community Affairs, and thank you so much for being here with us. This is Community Shield of the Houston Police Department, the only department in the entire country that really takes upon as a responsibility to inform the community through the media. Yes, thank you so much for watching today, and of course you can share the program through your social media contacts. It would be really awesome that you help us get the word out that we have this program to inform the community. And of course we have our co-host and partner here, Rafael Pantoja. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Jesus. Good afternoon. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your loyalty. Please share the program. We're going to be talking about a lot of interesting subjects, but we're going to really focus a lot on the youth as well. So please pay attention. You're going to learn what our mission is. You're going to learn what the priority of our department, which is our youth. So please pay attention. But more important, share the program on social media if you can.
So many resources that the Houston Police Department has for our youth, and so we can enrich their lives, and we're going to be hitting that in just a few minutes. But first, I also want to bring some awareness to human trafficking. This is the month where we talk about human trafficking, and we're going to be talking and bringing some resources out, especially for those that are victims of violent crimes, and some of that help also applies to human trafficking. But let's go back first to some of the priorities that the Houston Police Department has, and our chief has been very, very bold about, and that is enriching, empowering our youth through the program of YPAC. Just this week, our chief met with the youth of YPAC, and of course Rhonda, a big assistance there, Officer Nelson participating in this. We have some images of this meeting where, of course, they talk about a lot of topics there, and they have quite the amount of consequence with the Houston Police Department. Our chief does use some of these talks and some of these ideas that the teens have to apply it in our rules and SOPs and everything in the department.
Yeah, you know, the Youth Police Advisory Council is something that's very important. It's very unique in that it allows you to select several leaders, youth leaders from different high schools, and bring them together to the police department. And if you see the reactions, if you see the reactions of the youth when they're able to meet with the chief, when they know that their voices are being heard, when they know that they can take that message, all that information that they are going to learn back into their schools, it's just the most satisfaction we can get. To know that they're being heard, to know that they're really empowering themselves and their students, their friends in school. It's something very, very important, and please look at that program. They will be selecting more leaders for the next year, and it's a great opportunity not only to have on your school resume, but also a good opportunity to learn and to meet a lot of leaders within the city of Houston that will allow you to maybe have an opportunity to open a lot of doors.
That's right. And if you want to get more information, please call the Office of Community Affairs at 713-308-3200, 713-308-3200. And going again with our youth, Officer Collins, Raul Collins, is always invited to so many schools to talk about what's happening. And vaping is something that is happening right now with our youth. We had the opportunity to visit with a classroom full of youth. And in this classroom, it was also being broadcasted to many other middle schools and high schools. And they were able to listen to this conversation. So we were able to capture some of these images. And at the end, you're going to see the youth expressing themselves on how this program has been of impact to them. And of course, I'm not going to put the audio where the kids are speaking because it's very it's very intimate what they're saying, but I do want you to just appreciate what's going on. And this is one of the schools that we visited that are part of the Alifa school district. So let's check this out. And it's about vaping, the dangers of vaping.
Hi, I'm Senior Police Officer Raul Collins of the Office of Community Affairs. Today's presentation we're doing over here at Ollie Middle School, that's being CCTV'd all over A-Leaf, is in regards to vaping. It's an epidemic, and it's something that we have to address. We had a great time, a lot of information exchanged, and the young people got a lot out of it in the CLC program at Ollie Middle School. See, how is smoking bad for you? We already discussed that. Do you take vape pens, random people on the street? No. What happens to your body when you smoke all the time? See that lung? That's not supposed to look like that. That bottom one, that first one, rather. See the pink healthy lung next to it? That's how your lungs should look. We should not compromise our bodies because they were made perfect and you're perfect already in every way. You just need to make the right decisions because there's an expiration date on people taking your stuff when you're making bad decisions. I've seen parents give up on kids and kids crying, "Mom, Dad, please, can you come get me? I'm sorry. But there's an expiration date on it because they'll ultimately say, "Hey, I got other kids to raise," or "I've given you every chance." Don't betray the trust by getting caught doing this. Next slide, please. And guys, ask these questions because again, you're gonna have to start making the best decisions possible because we need y'all. And if you would, take a look at the screen. Why it's never too late to stop smoking. Protective cells cut the risk of lung cancer in ex-smokers. See, if you never smoke, like I have, 100% of your cells are near normal. But because of life and environmental factors and stuff like that, those things can change depending on where you live, what you put in your body. It's real. Smokers, 4 to 10% of cells are near normal. They have somehow hidden from the smoke. Amazing. See, the body's always trying to repair itself. So it is a true factor that your lungs, if given time, can heal. Because that's literally trauma to your body. And when you're doing it internally like that, no matter how big and strong you are, something like that can take you out. Now here we're looking at ex-smokers. 20 to 40% of cells are near normal. More near normal cells than smokers. These may wake up when people stop smoking and start actively repairing the lungs to protect you against cancer. Woo! So see, ultimately, you still can end up with cancer. We want to avoid that. And we all agree that cancer is a bad thing. So let's avoid that. And ultimately, this is why I'm here. Because see, I believe in that intergenerational transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next. We call that culture. But once we decide what the culture is, we got to not only protect it, we got to gatekeep it. Let's get this stuff out of our system. We don't want to mess with this. You see this young lady? I want to start a no vaping campaign. This isn't because of vaping. I got pneumonia that saved my life. And look at her. She looks normal on the outside, but on the inside, we don't know what damage was done and how long it's going to take to repair this. So now let's get to the questions. Yes, sir.
Have you ever shot your gun?
Have I ever shot my gun? Yep. But here's the thing. When people choose a place and time, they should know the consequences. Police officers don't often get a chance to choose that. And that's the toughest part of my job because I believe in communicating effectively. So I'd rather communicate. I'd rather not go to those lengths or fights or shooting anybody.
So one of the questions on there is what chemicals are in vapes?
One of them is formaldehyde. Stuff that goes in dead bodies or used to preserve frogs in science experiments. I don't think you want to be putting that in your system. We got that information, now do something with it. Next question.
Okay, another question is, how is weed made?
Uh-oh. The weed that you currently see in its current state, it's not the stuff that people smoked in the 60s and 70s. See, because the THC level back in the days when I was a young man, it was 15%. Now, since people start altering it, the THC level is at like 85% or more. So what's going on? Those who have an interest in raising that THC level, that high component, why are they doing it? Let's go.
Ever smoked before?
Never in my life. Never tried cigarettes. I never tasted beer. So if anybody's telling you that, well, everybody tries it, not true. They're trying to project their weakness onto you. And I'll say to you, like I would say to anybody that I talked to growing up, not for me. And if they ask you why, because I said so. That begins your passport to manhood / womanhood, making good decisions. You're going to have to do it all your life. Yes, sir.
How many people in here have you ever tried a vaping before?
Be truthful. Raise your hand if you've ever tried it.
I mean, no one's in
If
trouble.
you've ever tried vaping before, raise your hand.
I got a question. How did it make you feel?
Yeah, honestly. Wait,
Yeah,
everybody's
no one's in
not
trouble.
done yet.
You're not in trouble.
How many people? No. How many people? Because you know why you're in here. How many people in here have ever tried it before?
Thank you for your honesty.
Hello, my name is Kevin, and the presentation was so good that I don't want to try vape or even do it. To all the people that do it, I'll just tell you it's bad for you and stop doing it. And I also want to say thanks for the police officers to come and to thank us for the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kathy Nguyen, and I'm a psychotherapist and a counselor. And then we see a lot of students that don't know how to cope with their emotions. So what they do is they vape, and then they don't know how addictive that vaping is. So I am so thankful for HPD and these officers to come in here and tell them the hazards of vaping, and then also alternative ways to cope, because that's what the kids really need, how to cope with their emotions so that they don't have to hit the vape. So I'm so appreciative that they're helping them with their social emotional learning. So thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us with our presentation today. And if you ever need us, reach out to HPD's Office of Community Affairs at 713-308-3200. Thank you and have a nice day.
You know, that was that visit that we had to this middle school and high school in the A-Leaf area, and of course, as you can see these images here, we can see the students speaking. Now, part of Rafael, this is what's so cool about this program, that they're working with kids that have been involved in certain things at school, and to be able to exit the program, they have to speak into the nature of why they're there. So if one of them was maybe caught vaping, then they have to speak about what they've learned in the program and how they're going to apply that in their regular lives and how they're not going to do this again.
I mean, I think it's a wonderful experience, and really, it's something that it's a unique program. And Raul has been someone who's been always very passionate about helping youth, mentoring the youth, and we're very grateful to have him on our division and really continue to really go out into all the schools and make those connections and make those positive changes in the lives of these youth.
That's right, and their stories were very compelling. They were very powerful. Those of us in law enforcement listening to this, we were truly moved because the way they expressed and the words that they said and how they change, they're going to change their lives. It is really inspiring in what they are looking forward to do, and this is really what we need to be working on. Our youth, parents, please. Don't let time go by. Don't let your kids make so many mistakes out there without you being on top of the situation, without you speaking to the counselors, without you getting involved in their lives. Kids need their parents to be involved.
I agree. I mean, you said a very good point. Speak to your children. Do not let them drift away. Because the minute you allow them to drift away is the moment when they're going to be looking for all that attention that they're not getting at home.
Mm-hmm.
Make a priority to have those intimate conversations with your children. Make that a priority to have a dinner at the table with all of you with no cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
Put the cell phones in a basket and have those intimate conversations, because that's what's important. Kids that leave the household, kids that join gangs, or kids who are looking for love, looking for financial support, looking for that emotional support that they may not be receiving at home. So please make that a priority. I know that we all have deadlines and meetings and work and so many things throughout the day, but at the end of the day, what matters is the family. So make that important decision to make your children a priority.
That's right. And I want to just send a shout out to Officer Raul Collins for doing this. If you want Officer Collins to maybe pay a visit to one of your schools, it would be awesome for you to give us a call at the Office of Community Affairs of the Houston Police Department at 713-308-3200. Ask for Officer Raul Collins, a talented individual who loves the youth and specializes in speaking to them about real life experiences. Now, something that we're going to segue into this because it is related. Human trafficking. We lose a lot of our youth. And they run away from our homes because there's this disconnect. Something's going on. And then what happens? The human trafficking element occurs in a lot of this. I'm not saying in all of it, but there's an element to this. And this is why we're privileged to have also Officer Rafael Pantoja, who has been going through this training and who is very experienced on what is human trafficking and also the differences of what is human smuggling and all that. Rafael, I know this is an expertise, something you know very well. Please speak to us about human trafficking and the differences between human smuggling and all of this.
Right. Well, you know what? Human trafficking, they talk about it. Everybody wants to jump on really, educating people and saving people. But human trafficking has existed for decades, for many, 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 many years. A good friend of mine, Ruben Perez, who's now a bureau chief with the DA's office, he mentioned to me the fact that he had found a book from 1910 or 1908. I don't remember the year he told me, that talks about human trafficking. It's existed for many, many decades, for a very long time. But it wasn't until the year 2000 that legislation finally found a way to really criminalize this, to really found a way to target these individuals who are really hurting so many families. Now, there's a little bit of confusion on what human trafficking and human smuggling is. Sometimes these terms are used interchangeably, and they're a different thing. Human smuggling, just to clarify, is when there are two parties. A person that wants to come into the country, a certain country, and they pay a fee to be transported into the country illegally, right? Without any documents to be able to enter the country. Once they reach the country, they're allowed to go free, and the other person who they paid, the contract's over. Mm-hmm. The job's done. So that's human smuggling. It's something that's voluntary. It's all something that is agreed upon with two parties, one paying and the other one providing the service to bring him into the country. Human trafficking is different. And in plain terms, I'm going to give it to you. It's the sale of human beings for the purpose of exploitation in the sexual industry or the labor industry. However, three important components, one of three important components must be present in order to classify this crime as human trafficking, and that is force, fraud, or coercion. If one of those components is visible
present.
or is present, well, that will classify that crime as human trafficking. Okay, it's very, very important that you know that. However, if the crime is sexual exploitation and the victim is 17 years or younger, you do not need one of these three components to be present. Automatically, it's human trafficking. It's very important for you to know that. Now, human trafficking, just so you know, it's like I said, in plain terms, it's the sale of men, women, and children for purposes of exploitation in the sexual industry or the labor industry. Very important to know that, very important to distinguish those two things. Now, just to go back to the human smuggling portion, it's possible that a human smuggling case can turn into a human trafficking case. That has happened before, and it may very well happen. Let's just say, for example, a person agrees to pay a smuggler, which they call a coyote, right? To bring him into the country legally without any documentation. They get into the country. They finally say, okay, well, here's our contract's over. I've paid you your money. You brought me into the country. It's gone. It's over. What if the smuggler says, you know what? Yeah, I did bring you into the country, but I don't think it was a fair price. I think you owe me another $30,000. And before you're free, I'm taking your documents, I'm taking all your property, and you have to work off your debt until you pay me this money. Well, in that case, that human smuggling case is slowly turning into a human trafficking case. So those are situations that we see very often. And other situations that we see is when they come into the country, they say, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, you paid me this money, but I'm not letting you go until your family sends me another $20,000. You know, all these situations happen very often, and that's when you have to have the FBI involved because it's international borders, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very, very, very important for people to know those differences. Now, human trafficking, who's the victim? Anybody can be a victim. Who's the trafficker? Anybody can be a trafficker. It could be a family member, it could be a neighbor, it could be a school friend, it could be anybody. It's very important for you to know and keep your eyes open. And people who really want to get educated on what human trafficking is, recognizing signs associated with traffickers, recognizing signs associated with victims, it's important to really get all that information, take those classes. There's an excellent organization. Their name is United Against Human Trafficking. They're excellent on really going to schools, going to police departments, going to nonprofits to really give them the classes that are so important on recognizing the signs associated with human trafficking, victims and traffickers. That's something that's really, really important because all of a sudden we see a human trafficking case and neighbors say, wow, I didn't know that was happening in my next door. You know, I did see some things, but I didn't think about it, or I didn't think about reporting. And that's the thing, you know, if you've got to get educated on recognizing signs. And they say, well, I did see an ultra sophisticated surveillance system outside the house, and I really didn't think it was necessary. I don't know why they had all that surveillance, all those cameras. You know, I did see frequent people coming in and out of the house. I did see a van picking up girls at 5 in the afternoon and then returning them at 6 in the morning. But, you know, I didn't think, you know, those are signs. That is something that you have to report. Remember, you don't have to investigate. If something doesn't feel right, if you don't, you have a hunch that something bad is happening, just call the hotline. Let them investigate. You did your part by reporting it, because if one you know, you never know when it could be one of your loved ones. So we have a number with HPD, but the most important hotline that you can call is the 888-3737-888. And that's a hotline where they speak over 200 languages. It's a hotline where you are able to remain anonymous. You don't have to give information. You give them the information, they'll send the resources that are needed in the area that you're reporting that activity.
Yes, and you know, some of the myths are that human trafficking, it happens only in other places, in other countries. And now that the World Cup is kind of coming its way to the Houston area and the preparations are beginning to happen, we're going to talk about how that human trafficking is happening right in our backyards. Right after this segment, we have Allison Hudson. She is assisting us with an interview. She was able to assist our friends in the victim services from the Houston Police Department, and they have a lot of resources for victims of violent crimes, for victims of human trafficking, and so much more. So stick around for this segment with our friend Allison Hudson of the Houston Police Department and our Victim Services Unit. We'll be right back with how human trafficking is affecting us right here in our own backyard.
Hello, I am Allison Hudson, and I work in the Office of Community Affairs for Houston Police Department, and we have a very special guest with us today, so I will let her introduce herself and tell you a little bit about where she works.
Hi, Alison. My name is Meulen Bajo. I am with the Victim Services Division. We provide services for victims of crime. Obviously, people go to the police when they have experienced a violent crime. So we are part of that process for that victim so they can know how to navigate the criminal justice system, the investigation processes, and also get them resources in the community.
Great. It's such a wonderful thing that you guys are doing. But can you specifically talk about what encompasses violent crime, right? To someone who doesn't exactly know what categories in violent crime, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the majority of the crimes that we work are like person crimes, meaning that there was a victim of that crime. For example, we do work with the surviving members of a family that dealt with homicides, sexual assault victims, survivors, domestic violence crimes, also aggravated robberies, aggravated assaults, and sometimes identity theft, other crimes, like at the end of the day, anybody that has been dealing with the police department can contact us. Usually those are the main crimes that we reach out to, but at the end of the day, anybody that has a case number with the police can call us and we will help them navigate whatever they need to.
Great. It's such a good thing. Victims already have a hard time dealing with what they're going through, and you guys make it so much easier. Can you talk about how many people are in your division in the different segments? I mean, obviously not a perfect number, but approximately, so that they can get an understanding of how many people are assigned to this division.
Yeah, we actually have been growing a lot. Like right now, I don't have the specific number, right? But what we've done is that we started with let's say 10 to 12 advocates several years ago, and slowly we've been growing. We mainly hire advocates in some specific patrol stations. We have been growing. Travis was one of those places to go and get victim services. And obviously we know when you come to downtown, a lot of people don't want to come to downtown. So right now we have our services in a lot of substations, and that way people can go closer to their home, closer where they're at. We also have advocates that are with officers, and that's a program that is called DART, Domestic Abuse Response Team, and they go on scene when the crime just occurred, and so they can reach out more. So we've been having a combination of, like right now, grants that they've been accessing, and that has increased our numbers, which I wish I could tell you right now what it is, but we do have, I would say, at least 35, 40 victim advocates throughout the city.
Wow, that is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about where the funding comes from? When you help a victim, where does that funding come from? Because obviously it's a partnership, right? So where does that funding come from?
Yeah, so we rely a lot on the community. We mainly connect victims with services that are already established. Like, for example, if a survivor of domestic violence, sexual violence is dealing with different needs, right? Like shelter, counseling, all these needs. We refer them to the nonprofits that already have those resources and those funds, mainly like the Houston Women's Center, depending on the area where they're at, but they do have those services. We also assist them with accessing crime victims compensation, which is a fund that can help them with medical expenses, counseling expenses, or sometimes even lost wages, relocation assistance sometimes. So we don't have the funding per se, but we will make sure that we connect them.
That's awesome. In a calendar year, can you talk about maybe how many people that Victim Services serves?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, I wasn't prepared with numbers, but I can definitely get back with you on the number that we have. But I can tell you there's a big need, and we have been, at least for me, I know that I speak with more than 100 victims a month, and so that, times all of the advocates that we have. So we definitely need more services, more advocates that can do our work. But right now we're really getting to speak with a lot of survivors, a lot of victims. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
So obviously too, speaking with, victims, Houston being one of the most diverse cities in the country, obviously we're not just speaking to one demographic. So can you talk about how you guys handle that with language barriers and different cultures and things like that?
Absolutely, yes. So we know that we have a very diverse community in Houston, and we want to make sure that we respond to every victim that has been a victim of a crime, and we don't want any barriers to exist, right? So we do have a lot of advocates that speak Spanish. I'm one of them. We do have the language line that we access if it's needed, but we always try to connect. If we know that there's a victim that speaks Farsi, that speaks another language, we look in our department to see an officer, because there's usually an officer that will be able to assist us, or also connect them with community resources. That we do have some specific community centers and community resources that speak those languages as well. So we try to rely on whoever can help us.
Right. That's great. That's great. Is there anything else that you want to add about victim services that we haven't touched on so far? Because I want to move on to another topic that is also very important, but I just want to make sure we don't miss anything.
Yes, absolutely. So one of the challenges that our victims may experience as well, talking about people that maybe don't speak English, like we do have a community, like the immigrant community, that sometimes may be a victim of a crime, and we know that they are less likely to report to the police due to fears, sometimes of deportation. And I think our department has been very vocal on letting victims of crime know that they don't have anything to fear in that sense, but at the same time, people still may have those ideas, right? So we want to make sure that they know that if somebody is undocumented, there are some things that our unit does. We process the U visas, T visas, requests for certification. So that is another layer that we work on.
Right. Yes, the U visa program is so important. Obviously, that started at the federal level. Can you walk somebody through that process, what that looks like, so that if they know that they've been a victim of crime, we want to cooperate to help them also as well. Can you walk through that process?
Yes, absolutely. So we are not the ones that do the process. Like what the victim will need to do is we will refer them to the community partners, which are there are nonprofits that offer immigration services, or sometimes the victim may reach out to a private attorney and they will help them identify the qualifying crimes. Some of those crimes obviously have to have the aggravated element, like domestic violence, sexual violence, aggravated assault, robberies. But obviously there are more, and they are at the federal level, like you said. So there's a list on the immigration page, and people can see there. But somebody will assist them. What we will do is help them process that. Like the police department gets a huge number, like a big request from the community for those services. So we will be helping them. If they don't have assistance, we will connect them. But if they do, we will help them process that request.
Awesome. And, can you talk about, obviously every case will be different, but what is the typical time frame from the time that they fill out this U visa until, the closing of the case? I know it's different, but what on average, what can they expect?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because our department has grown, as far as how many people are working on that. It is a very good system that they have, because we are a big police department. That program is not a requirement. The police department have to do it. So some small departments may not even give a certification, but the Houston Police Department has taken it upon itself to really respond. So right now, I would say that we do have a long wait, but people, I know that some of, I am not directly the person that works with that, with the U visas, but because I speak Spanish, I end up translating for them a lot. So I know that they've told me that right now there's either 4 months request or a little longer. I am not 100% sure, but what I can say is that I know that at the same time that they put that request, they're gathering other documentation and other things that they need. So.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important to let people know that, there is something out there that can help, and that came down from the federal level. And, like she said, not all departments are extending that. And because we're so community oriented, we want to help, right? We want to help give back. The process may take a little long, but it does happen, right? Patience is a virtue. And we just want to make sure that we're giving back in that way as well. So can you tell me a little bit about, if someone is listening to this and they're like, I need their services, how do they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So officers in the streets, when they take a report, they will usually give our victims a blue paper that includes our phone number is the main number there, and then there are also other numbers and other resources that they can access, but our number is there. So that usually will be given in the same day. We may reach out to them as well, or sometimes people come in person. So there's many ways, but I would say you can call our main line is 713-308-0080. And we are open Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. And, we will be able to connect you with whatever resources you need.
Great. That is amazing. Is there anything else that maybe, the public may not know what you guys do that you haven't touched on, and maybe that I don't know that you guys do that you would like the public to know?
Yeah, we do, like when somebody just dealt with a traumatic event, obviously they may be dealing with trauma reaction. Sometimes people feel confused, they don't know what to do. So we kind of like also provide that crisis intervention. We help them, we walk them through it. We try to connect them with resources in the community that can continue that, right? Like we just don't leave the person right there. Like sometimes, for example, also like I have been working with sexual violence for a long time. So sometimes like after an interview, after a victim, a survivor has provided a statement to the police, that can really trigger a lot of that trauma, right? So I want to make sure that before they leave, they go home, they are safe, and also that they have the resources that they need. So that's a lot of part of what we do. We want to make sure that that person has those resources.
Great. So one other question that I have. So let's say someone, files a report and they need your services, but they're like, no, not right now. And then 8 months passes. Are they still eligible for the services?
Absolutely. We know that when somebody has experienced a traumatic event, the last thing that I want to do is think about it, right? So we push it away. We just we just like having a reaction and may not realize how big it is. So there's research that shows that sometimes it will take months before the person realizes how this has affected me, right? So that initial crisis, it's hard to think, okay, I'm just gonna go talk to, we're not thinking linear, right? We're just like our mind is all over the place. So we have a lot of people that sometimes it's months, sometimes it can be years. So regarding the criminal side of it, there may be statutes of limitations, but obviously I don't want to get into that because each case will be different. But I always tell people, if you were a victim of a crime, don't worry about how long ago it was. Just give us a call. We will connect you with the investigators to see if that is a portion that can be, what can be done in that end. But as far as resources, it does not matter. We will connect you with counseling, with whatever you need so you can get that help.
Great. That is awesome. So, you guys do so much, and we thank you for your service that you provide day in and day out. That is not an easy job, obviously dealing with victims. And I mean, it could take a toll on you guys as well. And so we thank you for everything that you do. Again, if you're listening and you need services, don't hesitate to call. That number is 713-308-0080. And you can also visit our website, find information on our social media. We just want to be able to help those who may be hurting, who may be victims of crime and didn't know that this program exists. This is such an important thing. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting what you need. And again, thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you to Allison Hudson of the Houston Police Department in the Office of Community Affairs. Rafael, human trafficking is something that's right here in our own backyard.
Right, and it happens everywhere. It's not just Houston, it's all over the world. I mean, you're talking about the second fastest criminal organization in the world, and it only ranks second to drugs. You're talking about a criminal organization that really generates approximately $180 billion a year. And out of those 180 billion, it's about $100 billion a year in the sex industry. It happens everywhere. And Houston's not exempt. And, there's a lot of people say, oh, Houston's a hub. There's a lot of cases. I don't really see it that way. I think that they focus on us because we have focused on trying to find it. There's cities that have never focused on trying to find human trafficking, and they say, well, there's nothing happening here. Well, it's probably because you haven't looked for it. So Houston has always been focused on saving those victims, rescuing those victims, and there's a lot of factors that can contribute to certain cities. For example, in our city, some of the factors that can contribute to making the city of Houston attractive to traffickers is the proximity of the border. It's the availability of Interstate I-10, which allows the traffickers to transport the victims from east to west very easily. You have every single sports arena you can think of. You have soccer, you have baseball, football, basketball. You have every single sport that may attract human traffickers and the demand for human trafficking. We have the World Cup coming up. We've had the big game on Sunday that's also attractive. And anytime you have large scale events, it doesn't have to be sports. It could be a car show. It could be a motorcycle rally. Anytime you have large scale events, you have the demand for sex and labor goes up, and we have to be aware of that. And that's why a lot of nonprofits and police departments oftentimes work together in preparing for these large events. I remember when we had the Super Bowl, we were working with the Houston Area Council on Human Trafficking, with the mayor's office, and with all the nonprofits, with all the police departments. Why? Because we know that there's a lot of victims that are brought into the city because the demand for sex and labor goes up during large scale events, and we have to be ready for that. That's just the reality of it. Houston also has another important thing is that we're the most ethnically diverse city in the entire nation. I think it was 2014 or 18, we're recognized as that. There's over 200 languages that are spoken in Houston. There's over 90 consulates in Houston, and all those things contribute and make it attractive to the traffickers. The more diverse a city is, the less likely or the probabilities of a trafficker from being caught happen. I mean, that's the way it is.
It's so sad how this business of human trafficking is so lucrative, and it's the second most lucrative thing in the entire world. It's more lucrative than drugs, and this is why, Rafael.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of traffickers, from what I heard from a lot of U.S. attorneys, from DAs, is that drugs are very profitable, of course. But drugs, you buy your drug, you get your profit, and if you want to make more money, you have to buy another stash of drugs to sell, right?
Yes.
But in human trafficking, you can reuse and reuse that individual until that person is no longer of use to you, and then even after that person is no longer of use to you, you can sell that person to another trafficker, and that's what happens. And they're like, well, my chances of if I'm driving in a vehicle with a human trafficking victim, the chances of someone identifying me as a trafficker are a lot less compared to if I'm carrying drugs in my car.
Mm-hmm.
If once they see the drugs in my car, that's it, it's over. But for them to get to the bottom of whether or not I'm a trafficker or I have a victim of human trafficking, the chances of me being caught go down.
So again, for every crime, there's a response. This goes against the dignity of the human life, the way these people are being utilized for such a horrible thing. And the response to this is what? Taking ownership. We need to take ownership of our neighborhoods. Call the police. Please let us know if you see something like this happening. If you see some of the elements that my partner Rafael Pantoja was talking about, please call us and let us do the investigation. Let's not allow this. We have a response for this, and that is taking ownership of our community and getting the police involved, and we'll do our investigation. And in talking about getting the police involved, we were very busy this week with the Lunar New Year celebrations. And for that, we also visited a West community where we saw a lot of things happening. And we want to just show you some of the cultural elements of this Lunar New Year. We have Officer Vo representing the Asian community, and he's going to take over this part right here in Community Shield of the Houston Police Department. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Senior Police Officer Don Vo from the HPD Community Affairs, and I am here today at the Chinese Community Center, 9800 Town Park, and we are celebrating the Lunar New Year at the Chinese Community Center's Lunar New Year Festival 2023. Right here today, I have lantern making. We are using the lucky envelopes, and we are going to be making a lantern, lucky lanterns for the children. And then over here, we have a crime prevention table with various languages for the community so that they can stay informed and prevent crime. Over on this side, I have a station for the children to have bunny masks because this year's Chinese Zodiac is the year of the rabbit. So I have made bunny masks for them to color, to engage with the police officers. And lastly, on this section, we have a trinket area where you spin a wheel, and whatever you land on is what your prize will be, and this is from the Office of Community Affairs. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year 2023. And I also want to mention why it is so important that the Office of Community Affairs is here, and I am serving as the Asian Community Liaison. It is so important to serve our community and represent our diversity of the people in the city of Houston. So being here, engaging with the community, and having discussions with them, open discussion on what's going on, what they need help with, that's what's really important, and that's what matters, especially with the Houston Police Department.
Good morning, good morning. I'm Allison Hudson with Community Shield, and today I have some U of H people here with me, and they're going to talk about something very important today. Can you tell me what you guys do and what's your name?
Hi, my name is Shantae Fossey. I'm a program manager at the University of Houston Health Research Institute, and we are here representing our H-Town Chat project.
All right, and tell me your name.
Hi, my name is Alice. I'm the student from UH. So today, 我们在这里是代表休斯顿大学的 H program.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so tell me, I mean, you have some nice brochures here. Yeah. Obviously, this is important, especially, you know, with COVID. I see some COVID information, blood pressure. Tell me a little bit about what we have here.
Yes, so the H-Town Chat program is basically designed to understand the lived experiences of the Asian community as they pertains to navigating healthcare. So what we're doing here is we're giving some brochures out about COVID. We're asking some questions about their lived experiences, and also making sure to do some blood pressure, checks to make sure everyone is all healthy and safe.
Awesome, awesome.
所以今天呢，我们代表休斯顿大学 H-Chat program， 我们在这边要发送大家不同的brochure。我们会告诉你要怎么量你的血压，怎么样的血压是健康的。然后我们还有很多资讯关于 COVID-19， 然后我们还有很多的礼品要赠送给你。
So obviously we have some water bottles here. Yes. So tell me what's the importance of having these. Obviously we want people to drink water. Can you just kind of elaborate on that?
Yes, so we have some water bottles here, are awesome swag items to get people to stay hydrated throughout the day. We have some awesome masks to stay masked up for COVID-19, and we also have some sanitizer just to make sure people are being safe.
Awesome, awesome. Anything else you want to add?
No, just we appreciate Chinese Community Center for bringing us here today. We appreciate it and we're thankful.
All right, and I'm going to go around and get everybody's name. Okay.
Dr. Damian Adam Kelly.
So Tim.
And you already met our two lovely ladies here. All right, I'm going to give y'all on a count of 3. We're going to clap it off and say whatever you want to say. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Whose house? All right, good morning. Allison Hudson here again with Community Shield, and I have two great guys here with me today with the Greater Houston Police Activity League. So please tell me your name, guys.
My name is Terry Beatty with the Houston Police Activities League, and I've been a police officer for 12 years now.
Officer Sormino with the Houston Police Department. I've been with the department 13 years.
Great. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do, why it's so important to give back to the youth.
Well, first and foremost, the thing that we do is we like to go out, interact with the young people in the community, try to break down some of these barriers, build up some trust between the police and the community, and just allow them to see that police officers are humans and that we do make mistakes sometimes, but we are very in favor of what the young people do, and we want them to have a bright future.
Awesome.
One of the things that we emphasize is leadership in the schools. We go out there and talk to the teachers and talk about cyberbullying and all those aspects that we have in the schools right now with this environment with the social media.
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned leadership. That is obviously so important, even as adults. But can you speak a little bit about the leadership roles that you guys see with the kids that you have now?
Definitely. One of the things that we see nowadays is, once again, about social media. And leadership is start with with yourself, right? So that's what we teach the kids. We go to the schools, we talk to the teacher, and cover leadership. That's the number one, because we want to grow leaders in our youth community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you tell me how many kids that you guys have in your program?
Well, currently we have over about 600 kids citywide. Our program covers the whole city, and so we're in all the different parts of the schools. We're in about 7 or 8 different school districts, and the big thing that we do again is we work on creating leaders through mentorship. So we as police officers are mentors to a lot of these youth who may or may not have a really good example that they see on a daily basis. So this gives them an opportunity to see someone who's doing something right, who's doing the right thing, reaffirm those things that they have in their life that they need to get correct.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a table here. Obviously, we have some brochure with some literature on the program, and obviously we have some games. So walk me through. I mean, I know you guys give so much to the community and to our youth, and you participate in a lot of events. So obviously we're here at Lunar New Year Festival, and you guys are here. So tell me what it is that you guys are doing here.
Yeah, I'd like to add that our program interacts with youth from a broad spectrum. Youth from ages like 7 all the way up to like 17 or 18. Besides just the positive interactions at different community events, we also host sports youth development programs. So we do basketball, we do football, we help out with soccer, and then we just want to be out in the youth in any way we can, because like he said, like Officer Zamino said, a lot of people in the city don't know anything about our organization. They don't even understand that, besides the enforcement part of policing, we also want to have a positive influence on the policing as well. And we like to get out in front of the youth as often and as early as we can. And that gives them an opportunity to see, not only do we do the enforcement part, but we also care about them as humans and as people as well in their development.
So if anybody's watching this right now and they're interested in joining, can you tell me how they would do that?
Yes, they can go to the HoustonPolice.org website, or they can call our office at 713-308-3200, and that'll be a great way for them to get involved in our program.
Absolutely. Anything you want to add?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're doing coming up next Monday, we start our basketball program. And as Officer Betty mentioned, it's 14 officers citywide, and in every area of the city is being covered. So look us up on GHPOW online, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for kids with no experience or with some experience for basketball.
Absolutely. What a wonderful program. If you guys are interested, you heard it here first. How you can get involved, you can call that number. You can visit our website, and we're on social media as well. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, good morning. It's Lunar New Year, and right now I have with me, tell me your name.
Yes, my name is Lisa.
Lisa, and tell me this beautiful, what you have here.
Okay, this is a dancing lion.
Lion, okay.
Yes, and we have a big one, and we also have a small one. A small one is for kids.
Okay.
It's like a lion puppy.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
so they can, dance very, very funny and very well. It's so cute.
It is very, very cute. And so, can you tell me, do you make these?
No, we import this.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay. All right. And so, tell me what's the importance of these. Obviously, it has some importance. So, please share with us what that is.
All right. For Chinese culture, and every Lunar New Year, and before there's a master called Nian, and Nian is very, very. It hung for people. So if for the first day of the year, they see, everybody survived, and they were greeting everybody, and they use this lion to scare away from the masters. Yeah, so the monsters will be scared away.
Right.
So they will, fire the firecrackers, and they will dance and become very happy, and also very strong, and scare away the the bad thing.
Bad things. Okay, all right. And so you have here some different colors. Can
Yes.
you walk me through that? This red one is beautiful.
That's beautiful. And red is a traditional color.
Okay.
And we always like a red color to
good luck,
it's
right?
good luck.
Yes,
Yes, and very powerful.
Right,
And also we have purple and golden color is very very good
nice,
too.
nice.
Yeah, and pink for the girls they love it, and yellow too. So in the real time, and they usually like a lion dance, they have many colors as
Right.
this
Okay,
too.
nice. Okay, and then tell me what we have here, over here.
Oh, this one. This year is the year of the rabbit. Yeah, so we have some like products for celebrate the year of the rabbits.
Okay, all right. And so, do you hang these like around the house? Like, where can you hang this?
And we can hang two sides of the door, front door, or in the middle of the front door.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, and if somebody wanted to come and buy this, how much are they? Where can they get them?
Okay, this is $15. And it's a we have very good price because we want to share with everybody. And we are a non-profit organization. We are the Epic Times, and so all the incomes we will donate to the charity and use for the very good thing.
Wow, that is so great. Thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you.
back. We appreciate you being that nonprofit in the community, the Year of the Rabbit, and we're going to say some good luck.
Okay.
And thank you guys for joining us. We're meeting with, tell me your name?
Oh, my name is Miracle Boy. I work for Harris County Elections Administrator.
Okay, so tell me what we have here, and tell me, tell the people why it's so important to vote.
It's very important for people to use their civic rights. We're blessed to be U.S. citizens, to be able to have a say in our government, right? So we want to encourage people to utilize that right and register to vote with us today. And that's why we want to make sure we impact all the communities in Houston. Right?
Absolutely. So, for someone who just really doesn't know anything about voting, can you go through that? How old did it have to be? Those type of things.
Of course. So in order to register to vote, you must be a U.S. citizen. You must be at least 17 years and 10 months of age to register to vote, meaning that you'll be 18 by election day. This upcoming election in this year is May 6th, which is a uniform election, and then in November there's the mayor election.
Okay. And where is your office located? If someone wants to come and get some additional information, I'm sure you have a website. What is that information?
Yes, if you go on harrisvotes.com, that's the official Harris County Election Administrator website. But there's also the downtown location in 1001 Preston Street, which is the Harris County building. If you go to the second floor or fourth floor, that's the election administrator's office.
Absolutely. And what are the hours?
It's from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Awesome. And what is that website?
harrisvotes.com.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you want to let the people know about how important it is to vote, or anything about your services?
Well, I'm a community coordinator for the Spring Branch Energy Corridor and A-Leaf area. We're always looking for volunteers to help us register folks in the community. So if you're ever interested, please reach out at harrisvotes.com. We'll be able to set up a voter registration drive or get someone out there to register folks in your area.
Okay. And then tell me a little bit about that volunteering, because I may be interested. So can you give me a little different additional information? Like, how many volunteers do you see kind of in that election year? And then just, when it's not an election year, are you still looking for volunteers, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so VDVRs, those are voter registrars. Those are people in the community that can register folks to vote. They don't work in the election necessarily, but they help register people whether it's an election year or not. They're around year-round to help coordinators like myself register folks in the area. In order to do it, it's a really easy training. It's just an hour training. There's virtual and in-person that we're doing. And if you do in person, you actually get your certificate the day of, and you actually can go out to events like this and register folks.
Awesome. Anything else that I'm missing that you want to mention?
I think that's all I got for right now. But yeah, thank you for interviewing.
All right, thank you so much. And remember, voting matters. So if you're not registered, go out and get registered today. Thank you.
We're celebrating the Chinese New Year, right?
Yes.
All right. Celebrating the Chinese New Year with the Houston Police Department, we are HPD! 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 Woo! That was a lot of fun. That happened this weekend. And of course, the entire week, you see these Lunar New Year festivities all over the city. And of course, the Houston Police Department is heavily involved in a lot of this. And of course, this is with the goal to have relational policing. The goal is to continue to fortify the communication with the Asian communities. And of course, everybody that is there enjoying of these colorful festivities of the Lunar New Year. That was also Officer Vo. He is the Asian community liaison. So if you ever want to get in touch with